So, Mark, did you see the shoeys, the F1 shoeys? They sold out on day one. I guess they have more designs, but I know you don't think these things are cool, but everybody's buying them.
They only had 50 of them. That's not everybody. That's just 50. You could like put a turd in a box and sell it to 50 people.
But a turd in a box doesn't look as cool as this. Speaking of F1, I was on the strip this week, staying at Caesar's Palace, kind of taking in the race week vibes. Headed over to Wynn for a little bit, all the fancy cars. I don't know. There's like $1 million cars everywhere in Las Vegas.
No, I mean, it brings in a certain type of clientele that, yeah, you see a bit of it in Vegas, but I think it brings in a much denser group of them. So you get to see all the fun stuff that comes along with that.
I still think it's really neat to drive down the strip once so about a month ago, they start kind of making the track. But if you drive like this week, it's the actual track. The advertisements are up. Everything is sort of the way it's going to be. And that's always neat to drive down the strip. I have some Rivian video for you guys. It rained and the cameras weren't that clean, so the quality isn't good. But you get to see what it's like to drive down the racetrack.
Except for you can't gun it like they do. So you're just stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper.
Yeah, pretty much. Narrow lanes, everything else. But I did have a really good time at Caesar's Palace. I'll talk about that on a future show. Disco Show. I'm going to give you a little hint. I really loved Disco Show. And one more thing, I finally got to try a Dominique Ansel cronut. The famous, I've had cronuts, but not the original from him. $12 at Caesar's Palace. Looks delicious. It was incredible. You tell me if it was worth $12. I don't know. I don't know if any donut or cronut is worth $12.
I can't imagine it. Maybe $6, $8 tops. 12 is stretching it. I know you had that Caesar's money to spend from the sweet snafu where they were giving everybody all these different things. So perfect time to try something like that if you have comps or something along those lines where you can be a little bit over the top and not it won't affect you too much and you can really enjoy it. So I'm glad you got to take advantage of it. But what I just say, you put a price tag on something, somebody's gonna buy it.
Very true, but a lot to talk about next week. From there, went to Peter Luger again, Gordon Ramsay's pub. I can't ever stay out of that place for some reason. Those fish and chips for $37 just hit right.
You can get them for $20 down the street.
Well, we'll talk about that next week. Let's talk New Year's Eve. And for the first time, Palms is going to be participating in the New Year's Eve fireworks celebration, and they are not on the strip. This will be the first off-strip property to do that. They are joining MGM Grand, Aria, Planet Hollywood, Caesars Palace, Treasure Island, Venetian, The Strat, Resorts World, and Fontainebleau.
I'm kind of surprised that they would put the money into it, and I'm glad that it's expanding a bit, but I don't know that anybody on the strip is going to be able to see it really. Maybe you can see the fireworks, but you're not going to see it coming off of the palms or any of that like you do when you're standing on the strip and watching the others, but it might be a cooler view for anybody that's not on the strip, that's outside of it a little bit. Anybody that lives in that area or just happens to be hanging out around there. I think that will be a unique vantage point that they wouldn't have had before.
Yeah, add a little dimension to it. The Rio is also an incredible spot to watch this, like their parking garage, their masquerade parking garage. And I think having those behind you would be kind of cool. But yeah, I think it just maybe adds a different vantage point. It is a lot of properties, though, and they all launch pretty much the same show. But it's fun. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these from the ground for the first time in a long time.
So they're not going to start charging for parking on that parking garage like they do elsewhere for these types of things?
Rio free parking. I hope it stays on New Year's Eve. I'm sure a lot of people go up there and maybe they do close it for New Year's Eve. I've never done it, but that view from the top there, you get like the panoramic view detached. It's pretty incredible. Now, there's a lot of deals through the end of the year, and one that we should talk about is Wyndham and Caesars. Not the sexiest deal, but now through the end of the year, you can transfer up to 60,000 Wyndham rewards points to Caesars. So basically, they doubled the usual limit.
Yeah, and they had dropped it down previously, and then they bring it back. It's just kind of weird how they're doing that with this partnership, how they're going back and forth on how many you can transfer. But it's good. You get a cent per point, essentially, when you transfer it over to Caesars Rewards. That's pretty similar to what you get at Wyndham, so you're not losing any value there. And then you can use it when you're in Vegas or add it to your other app account and spend it that way. But it opens you up to other things if you don't need all those Wyndham points, which I think is pretty sweet. Or vice versa. If you earn a ton of Caesars Rewards and you want to go stay somewhere that they have a Wyndham hotel, you can take advantage of it that way.
Yeah, one of maybe the more undercovered partnerships in the Vegas side of things. People on the miles and points, they talk about it all the time. But yeah, it's good to see this. Always opportunity. The limit really does hurt for a lot of people. So this is actually very good.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it. And if you have one of those Wyndham cards that earns really high in the gas category and stuff like that, you're probably racking up tons of points. And this is a way that you can diversify that a bit.
Today's episode is brought to you by friend of the show, Las Vegas local Greg Schaff from Barrett Financial. Call, email, scan the QR code to get in contact with Greg for all your mortgage questions, refinance, purchase. Support him, support the show.
Greg's going to hook you up. Give him a chance.
So we have covered over the last year or so the M Resort and their new tower expansion, and that is finally getting ready to open. They're very excited about this. It's going to happen on December 3rd. And let's start with this. So we've had renders of what these rooms look like, but then they put out on social media pictures of a suite. My God, does that look sexy?
Yeah, I really like the suite design. That carpet is awesome. I think the colors are nice, and it's not that plain vanilla that we see everywhere else. There's some dark woods in there. They add a little bit of pop, a little bit of color. It's exactly what we've kind of hoped for, where, yeah, it's approachable for everyone, but it also has a little bit of personality too. So I think they did a really good job in here. I wish they could do it in their casino too.
Yeah, I mean, they have renovated parts of it, but you're right. This modern, fresh feel of this room does not sort of match the mid-2000s vibe of a lot of their casino. But this is exciting, the official Raiders place, and this is why they needed more hotel rooms. They're going to have 765 total hotel rooms now. But the good news is, on December 3rd, when they're opening this mark, they are going to have a 500 drone light show showcasing the evolution of M Resort and the magic of the season. So this is free to all guests. That'll be at 6. So I think they have the ribbon cutting at 5. You're going to have the drone show at 6. And then they're going to have surprise musical guests poolside for everybody to perform. This is the way you do it. This is the way you open your tower.
Yeah, I think it would be cool. I love drone shows. I know you love drone shows. It just, when you see the ones in Asia and China and stuff with like 100,000 drones, 500 doesn't sound as cool.
Well, like I was saying on another show when I was in Shanghai, they just randomly on the skyline, a drone show just happens any given night. It just sort of happens, where for us, it's a big deal. But I love that M is spending some money inviting people in and then making it a party, musical guests. You know, they're going to have, you can buy, s'mores, all that sort of wintry stuff that they're going to sell out there as well. But yeah, welcome the community in. And this is a big deal for this property, kind of sitting out there alone until Inspirada Station gets built.
Yeah, and I think it's been needed. They needed to breathe a little bit of life into there. Last time we were visiting, it just seemed kind of dead and there wasn't much of a vibe. So, and this used to be kind of the premier local place to go. And it's surprising, but they've lost it a little bit, and hopefully this can help bring some of that back.
So somebody pointed out in the comments, shout out to who you are, that I failed to cover the Amex in Vegas stuff during F1. And that's starting with 1850 by American Express. I thought we talked about it somewhere, but I don't think we talked about it on this show. And that is American Express Pop-Up Lounge at Aria. Basically, if you have a platinum card, it's free for you and a guest, November 13th through December 17th. And you do need to make a reservation on Resi. So you can actually make a reservation. I had one for opening day and I wasn't able to make it over there, and then I lost it and it was a big deal. But I hope to get over there soon, like free snacks, booze. And then they're also doing free rides on High Roller for anybody with an American Express card. You just show it, you get up to 3 guests. And then if you have a platinum card, they have a separate sort of thing on Saturday. I cannot imagine what the lines are going to be like.
What if you have like 5 platinum cards? Do you get to jump the line then?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully. I mean, everything's first come, first serve. And that when that happens, like with the lounge thing over at Aria, you can make reservations. And so you're going to be able to go there. And that's really nice. With the High Roller, who doesn't have an American Express card or knows somebody who does? So you have to think that this weekend, when everybody's here for the race, it's going to be pretty ugly. I love that the Amex Lounge, though, is running through December 17th. So a very quiet time in Vegas in early December. That'd be a great time to go visit that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in there this weekend or this week, but I think early December, like you said, or even during Thanksgiving week, it would be perfect time to check that out, and probably a little bit slower. You get to take advantage of a little bit more of what's going on in there and not feel claustrophobic. I would not go anywhere near the Link High Roller. I mean, they've been giving away free tickets to that thing forever. No thanks.
I think that it's just the value of it isn't the same for us because we both had diamond status for so long. And it was always something like, oh, I could go do this now. And we both done it. But you get up there at night, it's an incredible, I mean, I really do love that view.
Yeah, I think the platinum one would be pretty cool too if you have a platinum card where you're getting the bar service essentially or something along those lines. And if you can time it where you're up there as the race is going on, that would be pretty epic. It's just, I don't know how long of a line you're going to have to wait in to do it.
New Kids on the Block have announced even more dates for their Park MGM residency at Dolby Live. They did this video. I thought it was really cool because it had all the local Vegas performers and celebrities in it, like a sham marriage or some sort of wedding chapel. I don't quite know the story of it, but February 14th through the 28th, June 19th through July 4th, and October 2nd through 17th. A ton of dates. New Kids on the Block. Backstreet Boys who?
You know who I was most surprised to see in the video?
Carrot Top?
No, Blue Man Group. Didn't know it was still a thing.
Anytime I see Carrot Top, it just brings joy to my heart. So I'm glad he was there. But yeah, it was kind of fun. There's some lesser known local people in there. So yeah, it's a fun video to go watch and see who you spot and who you don't. But the Blue Man Group, all three of them were there.
We should go to the Carrot Top when I'm in town. We got to check.
Anytime, man. That guy is fantastic. So we do have to talk about the A's. We're getting to a point now with the construction of the A's stadium where the people who think it's not going to happen are sort of wishing for us to have an abandoned lot with like concrete footers and stuff like that for the rest of our lives, because the A's have said that they're pouring concrete for the lower concourse. This is going to be the first level of seats, lower concourse suites, and the clubs located behind home plate. So that's what we're looking at here with this construction. So that is part of the stadium. This is no more moving dirt around.
I think the stadium for sure is going to be done. I don't know if the stuff around it is going to be done when the stadium opens. Maybe we'll just get a stadium for a while, but I think that will get done, and we'll have to see on all the Bally stuff if that comes through or not.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting to see this, but moving along, I mean, that's what we want to see, right? If we're hoping that what they announced actually gets built as far as we actually get a baseball team. But let's talk casinos for a second. So Frank Montes over at Silverton, he's the executive casino host over there. He's been doing some interesting stuff with marketing, trying to get big players, and he's really active on social media, more than other casino hosts I've seen. And he just posted this yesterday that Silverton had their first whale wire in $100,000. First, I was surprised that they never had a whale wire in that much money, and then I kind of wondered how common it is. I feel like it's pretty common among big gamblers. Congratulations to Silverton, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know how common it is. I'm sure at some of the bigger properties, or at a Wynn, a Bellagio, Cosmo, it's probably more common. I don't know that there's that many six figures rolling into the Dirty Castle, but I think Silverton, I have never been in Silverton, gone by it a million times, of course, but I know locals enjoy that place. And when I was at Musashi once, the chef, that's where he would go do all his gambling, and he talked about it nonstop. So I definitely need to check it out, and good for them for drawing in the big whale. Hopefully the whale does well. I don't know if they want that or not, but maybe they do. It would be more publicity for them.
I think when it comes to working at a casino, they know that the odds are already all figured out. So then you can just cheer for the person, because you don't need to worry that you're going to make money in the long term, right? It's going to happen. I like the way he's marketing. I think more casinos should do that. I was just in the Silverton yesterday, a big fan. I've been going there for a long time. They also had the Bad Elf pop-up, remember, that comes every year. This video I'm going to show you is from last year. I didn't get over. I was just there yesterday. I don't know how I didn't get over there to get filming of the new. It doesn't really change much, but it is a cool bar pop-up there. You got the mermaids, you got all the other cool stuff. And now they got whales. So there you go.
No, I love a Christmas pop-up. I know Chicago does this really well in the Wrigleyville area, and we went to one last year and had a great time. It just transports you into a whole different world, even though it's the same bar that you see the rest of the time. It looks completely different, a lot of fun, usually unique drinks and stuff like that. So check it out if you haven't been.
They also have their family with Santa, so they'll just go check their website for when Santa is going to be there. A lot of holiday stuff at Bass Pro Shops, so we probably won't cover that again before the end of the year, so make sure. Silverton, really good stuff for everybody. So speaking of high rollers, Bill Krakenberger shared this from a friend. A friend sent him this, and you can actually see the friend is 7 stars, and they're logged into their Caesars account trying to get a room. And Caesars is saying, yeah, you can have a room, $5,151 per night. And Bill's saying, should we even do this to our highest level players? Should we either say it's sold out or figure out something? But is it an insult to say, hey, occupancy's high, give us $5K?
You buried the lead here.
Okay.
It's in Atlantic City, too.
Yeah, it is in Atlantic City. Oh, yeah, it's true. That is probably an important factor to point out. But it's all the same. I think they would probably do the same thing here if they were at full occupancy. My guess is, we see this with Hyatt all the time, is when you're full, you still want to give your best customers a chance to book a room. And so you just charge this insane rate, but maybe not.
I mean, if you're 7 stars and it sounds, Bill says that they play all the slot machines and stuff. It's not from sports betting or anything along those lines. So if you're gambling in that way, they should make do. Like, walk somebody else. Don't have this person not come or feel slighted in any way. It would be better to just say sold out And it sounds like they reached out to a host out there, and the host couldn't even do anything, which kind of blows my mind. There, you know, that there's a room somewhere that they could create or open up in some way, or somebody's going to no show. They can make it happen, but they're not trying.
You forgot antique host. That's what Bill called the host, an antique host, somebody who's been with Caesars for a long time. I guess you need, it's funny in the corporate bureaucracies. I imagine hosts have to deal with this very much too. If somebody who can navigate the rules and whatever they have to do better is probably better than somebody who's been there for 25 years, just does the very minimum. And that's what it kind of sounds like here.
Yeah, and that's sad to see. You would think somebody that's been there that long would have the lay of the land and be able to maneuver different things, or reach out to a host at another property and be like, "Hey, we can't find space for this person. Can you work with them?" It's similar to what airlines do, and they have to, have a flight canceled. They'll book it on interline agreements. I don't know if anybody does that or if they would want to, but if they're good enough and you're making money off of being a host for this person, you need to bend over backwards doing whatever you can.
Like getting them the Cypress suite at Bellagio. I wanted to share that we've seen the suite at the top. So Bellagio's tower has that circular part, and there's suites in there. And we've showed pictures from the balcony, the top suite, but never one that's lower down in the tower. And Carrie Balicki shared this from the Cypress suite there. Incredible views right in the middle, as you would expect. Yay or nay? I mean, you've been a little negative on some of the suites we've been talking about lately. Well, I guess not the M Resort. You like that one.
Yeah, I think this looks nice. It's big, it's spacious, it's bright, it's massive. Like you can spend some time just walking around the place. I don't think if you get this, you're not going to complain about it.
My number one takeaway, and this is always the takeaway, those villas that have the private pools that are down on the ground floor, like this, from the view from this room, I mean, you're looking right down on those pools. It's just a reminder, like, I always wondered, like, are people
no skinny dipping?
I've never seen anybody out by those pools. I don't think that the whales actually ever use their private pools, but they're clearly on display. You're on display for everybody.
They could have come up with a better way to do that. I wouldn't want that. Put a sunshade thing over it or something. I don't know, have a way to block it. I wouldn't want people staring down watching me, but I guess that's the same at any pool with a room overlooking it.
Yeah, and this suite, as you said, it's incredible. Big. I wouldn't turn it down. Views from every room. It very modern too, because this is all renovated in there. And thanks to her for a really great walkthrough. Thanks to her for everything. Great content from Carrie all the time.
Yeah, and they didn't paint the walls brown, so that's a plus. Remember that suite?
The good old Johnny Jostle suite.
Worst suite in Vegas, maybe the world.
One last thing with Bellagio, I walked through the holiday stuff. We kind of showed this previously, but just kind of show you the on the ground. Such an I don't know. It's not underrated. Everybody knows about it. I love it. And they did a great job, as always, with this year's display. Kind of plussing it every year, it seems like, adding a little more tech, adding a little bit more. And good job.
I'm excited to check it out when I'm there, and the holiday one will be up, and that'll be amazing.
And let's close with this. Hollywood 2.0 is a failure once again. We don't want Hollywood 2.0. It's pretty clear. Now, State Assembly Bill 5 passed in the State Assembly earlier this year, barely. I think it was like 22-20 was the vote. So the whole reason that Governor Lombardo brings back the special session is to get the Senate to vote on it. And they basically needed 11 votes, and they won the vote 10-8. So they were one vote shy of passing Hollywood 2.0, which was going to give tax breaks to Howard Hughes Corporation and their partners for the Summerlin Studios project. I don't know anybody here who is in support of this, who feels like we need to spend this money as a state. And I'm always disappointed that it's gotten so much support as it has in the state, but it's good to see people fight back. I'm not against public funding. It just seems like, do we really need this, or can they just build a studio and operate it with lower taxes that we have here and so many of the other benefits that Nevada has to offer?
Yeah, this never works out well for the state. It ends up costing the taxpayers money, and these are huge corporations that have tons of money. They don't need the tax breaks. Maybe you could work it in where you're not giving a huge amount up front. Maybe give them slight discounts or defray something. There's a way that you could work it that it brings in more revenue than you have now, but doesn't cost you much and gives them discounts compared to where they're at now. And like you said, there's all these other things that Nevada already has going for it in terms of tax that you don't need to worry about if you're in California. They should want to move there anyway. How many TVs do you think Mark Wahlberg broke after this came out?
He might be used to it by now, because 2023, remember the first version of this bill, and that's the one that had two studios involved. Remember, there was a second studio from Warner Brothers, I think. And then earlier this year, it failed, and then now they're bringing it back. But of course, the biggest supporters of it say 2027, here it comes. We're going to bring it back again. So they're not going to stop trying. I think they really want to build this studio. So why not just build it?
Yeah, just build it. You have the money, build it. You'll save money over time.
All the years that they're waiting, they could already have the studio opened if they had just paid for it when they wanted to. Instead, they're just going to wait year after year after year for this. I would love for everybody to chime in what your thoughts are. We've talked about the film tax credits before, how it hasn't worked in other markets, how Nevada is a little bit different, and why I think that we shouldn't do this. But maybe you're on the other side. Maybe you think that this is important for that. Make sure to leave a comment what you think. Should we give them tax subsidies for this? Because it does not seem like Nevada lawmakers and everybody I talk to here just doesn't see why we have to do this.
It just seems like a big turn in the box to me.
You just love that full circle. So let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. Have you been on the Strip for F1 this week? What do you think? Has it been busier than you expected? I thought it was pretty darn busy down there this week for all the Vegas is Dead people, the suite at Bellagio, the Shoeys, I don't know, everything else we talked about. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. Good weekend. Enjoy.
Speaking of F1, I was on the Strip.
I thought you were going to say, speaking of turds in a box, F1.